Hey, folks, just something I want to read to you here from the NRA, and well, it has to do with HR 822, the National Right to Carry Reciprocity Act of 2011. This critically important bill, introduced earlier this year by Congressman Cliff Stearns, Republican, Florida, and Heath Shuler, Democrat, North Carolina, and co-sponsored by more than 240 of their colleagues, would enable millions of permit holders to exercise their right to self-defense while traveling outside their home states. Actually, they're working on something that is their job. It's what they're supposed to do. Anyways, there is currently only one remaining state, Illinois, that has no clear legal way for individuals to carry concealed firearms for self-defense. 40 states have permit systems that make it possible for any law-abiding citizen to obtain a permit, while most of the others have discretionary permit systems. Vermont has never required a permit. H.R. 22 would mark a major step forward for gun owners' rights by significantly expanding where those permits are recognized. Dozens of states have passed right to carry laws over the past 25 years because the right to self-defense does not end when one leaves home. However, interstate recognition of those permits is not uniform and creates great confusion and potential problems for travelers. While many states have broad reciprocity, others have very restrictive reciprocity laws. Still others deny recognition completely. H.R. 822 would solve this problem by requiring that lawfully issued carry permits be recognized while protecting the ability of the various states to determine the areas where carrying is prohibited within their boundaries. Unfortunately, but predictably, H.R. 22 continues to be attacked in some quarters, namely the anti-gun media like the New York Times and the Washington Post, anti-gun organizations like the Brady Campaign, and New York City Mayor Bloomberg's Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and regrettably, even some so-called pro-gun organizations. Opponents of the legislation claim that it tramples on each state's rights, but the states don't have rights, only powers. And while many anti-gun lawmakers who long pushed national gun bans on private gun sales, national waiting periods, and other federal restrictions have suddenly become born-again advocates of states' rights to oppose this bill. Several provisions of the Constitution give the Congress the authority to enact interstate carry. Congress also has the power to protect the rights of citizens nationwide under the 14th Amendment. Next, despite what a handful of pro-gun activists say, the bill would not create a federal licensing system, nor would it establish a minimum federal standard for the carry permit. Rather, it would require the states to recognize each other's carry permits, just as they recognize driver's license and carry permits held by armored car guards. Unfortunately, these self-proclaimed gun rights supporters who have no active lobbying presence in the legislature have an agenda that has very little to do with the promoting of interests of gun owners. Here are the facts about a few of their claims. Myth. H.R. 22 would involve the federal bureaucracy in setting standards for carry permits, resulting in need requirements, higher fees, waiting periods, national gun owners registration, or worse. Fact. H.R. 22 doesn't require or even authorize any such action by the federal agency. In fact, since it would amend the Gun Control Act, it would fall under a limitation that within that law that authorizes only such rules and regulations are necessary to carry out the GCA's provisions. No federal rules or regulations would be needed to implement H.R. 22, which simply overrides certain state laws. Myth. H.R. 22 would destroy permitless carry systems such as those in Arizona, Alaska, Vermont, and Wyoming. Fact, H.R. 22 would have absolutely no effect on how the permitless carry states' laws work within those states. For residents of Arizona, Alaska, and Wyoming, where permits are not required but remain available under state law, H.R. 822 would make those permits valid in all states that issue permits to their own residents. Residents of Vermont, where no permits are issued or required, could obtain non-resident permits from any other states to enjoy the benefits of H.R. 822. Myth. H.R. 22 moved through the legislative process. It would be subject to anti-gun amendments. Truth. By this logic, neither the NRA nor any other pro-gun group should ever promote any pro-gun reform legislation. But inaction isn't an option for those of us who want to make positive changes for gun owners. Instead, we know that by careful vote counting and strategic use of legislative procedure, anti-gun amendments can be avoided or defeated. H.R. 22 is a good bill for gun owners. Don't listen to false and misleading accusations. Get on your representatives. Tell them to get behind H.R. 22. It's all about the Second Amendment, folks. Peace.